Welcome to the 7th South-South Forum on Sustainability, organized by Lingnan University and Global University for Sustainability. This is the 7th time it is organized by the Lingnan University, and we are very happy that this time we have over 150 panelists from over 50 countries in the 10 days of the forum. We also have over 800 registrants that are joining this activity online. Now, I would like to invite our acting president, Professor Margo, to say some welcome remarks. Thank you, Professor Margo.
So good morning, everybody. Welcome to join the 7th South Forum on Sustainability. It's the true honor of Lingnan University to co-host this very meaningful event. And we are now facing an unprecedented global health crisis, and we are afraid that we can have a face-to-face interaction as we planned for. But it doesn't matter in a way that in the last couple of months, and technology does help us in engaging continuous conversations of important topics, including the one being identified for today and a few days later. So I would like to thank the organizers for organizing this conference. And even though we are having our conversation online through the technology for engagement in dialogues, I don't think that it would prevent us from serious discussion. And the global health crisis has taught us, especially as an individual, that human is so vulnerable. And the theme for sustainability is really important because no matter how hard we are driving for economic growth, generating a lot of incomes and also wealth, it doesn't help in a way that to solve the problem about sustainable development. So Lingnan University is very proud to take on this particular project, as the whole university has a core theme for supporting research. Our research has a focus on research with impact and impact with care. And most recently, the university has also decided to do more research in support of UN SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So when I heard about the conference this year, focusing on climate change, again, is a crucial issue. And judging from what happens in Hong Kong in the last couple of months, we found a lot of hot days, and we have no choice but turn on air conditioner for cooling down. But the effect would be harming the climate and also harming the world. We doesn't want to see that. But however, we are facing this sort of crisis globally. I hope that the gathering today and a few days later will enable participants, speakers, and practitioners to come together to reflect upon issues related to climate change and sustainable development. So I see two major themes coming out from this conference and symposium. One is number one is diversity of speakers. I would want to congratulate the organizer for putting a very interesting program. We've attracted, especially in the 3-day main forum alone, over 75 panelists from 35 countries across the world, including workshops, seminars, and e-lecture during the entire period of the symposium. So altogether, we have over 150 speakers and panelists from 45 countries. Congratulations, Jinhua, for organizing a wonderful gathering for speakers all around the world to debate and also discuss the issue. Second, I think not only about the diversity of speakers, I think the theme itself would allow us to think about how people can work together to remain positive. And I think resilience is something core to us when facing the current global health crisis. I would like to take this opportunity to share with colleagues. As I mentioned, the university here is very supportive of UN SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. And the most recently, the university received a very pleasing news, which is a Times Higher Education Impact Ranking 2020. In this particular ranking, they measure about the impact of university worldwide, about how we do our thing in terms of education and research in supporting SDG goals. And Lingnan University in this particular ranking is rated second in the world in quality education. It's one of the SDG goals. But we are not complacent in terms of our research. We are rated by the THE Impact Ranking 48th in supporting low poverty. And we are also in the world 71st being rated by the THE ranking by congratulating the university for supporting research in promoting decent work and economic growth. So these indicators are very encouraging to the university, but at the same time, this indicator reminds us that the whole world should work together for supporting sustainability. And Kimchi has been one major driver in the university by pushing the Lingnan gardeners in making the university campus sustainable one. So I want to thank her team, Longli, for improving the infrastructure, the environment of the campus, but also holding the conference today for gathering over 150 colleagues from around the world to debate about issues on sustainability. So I want to end my remark by thanking all the supporting colleagues and also the partnering institutions for making the event possible. I understand that there's a core theme today talk about reflection and contexting about globalization. Well, people may have a lot of debate on globalization, and one of the issues is we cannot ignore the impact of globalization. I personally learned globalization has taught me that we are all different, but in what way we can embrace diversity and also appreciate real difference, because the world of diversity, and let's work together with differences, but embracing diversity. And hope that, with this conference and the future collaboration, we can work together for supporting the UN SDG and making our world more sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Mark. Now I would like to invite our head of department of the Department of Cultural Studies, Professor NIRANJANA, to give the welcome remarks.
Good morning, everybody. If you're in a zone where one can say good morning, it's a very early morning for me here in India, but I'm very happy to be able to welcome you to the 7th South-South Forum on Sustainability on behalf of the organizers, the Global University, and the Department of Cultural Studies at Lingnan University. My personal thanks to my esteemed colleague Lau Qinchi, who has been really the major driving force behind the South-South Forum, as I'm sure everyone here knows. I also want to mention here that our department has been part of developing a new research center, the Center for Cultural Research and Development, which will officially take shape on September 1st, 2020. But I'm also extremely happy to announce that Lau Qinchi is the research coordinator of one of the major research programs that this center will host, and that is the program on the cultures of sustainability. I think there's no better occasion than this to announce both the name of this program and also the name of the research coordinator. So I would very, very happy to be able to be on the same platform, if you like, with Lau Qinchi here. The concept note of this year's forum draws attention to the interconnectedness of the crises that are confronting us today. It also draws attention to the urgent need to forge new, and urgent, even desperate need to forge new collaborations across the global south in order to find new and effective ways of addressing our problems. I'm truly humbled and honored to be speaking these few words in front of such an illustrious array of activists and thinkers, some of whom I've actually had the pleasure to meet, can we say, in the real world or offline in the past. People worldwide, across generations and geographies, are sure to learn a lot from this forum's discussions, and so will I. We used to say, I wish you a pleasant stay in Hong Kong. We can't say that anymore for good reasons, but I do wish that we'll have to put it on hold for now, that wish, but until such time as we can welcome you all back in Hong Kong, and I do wish that time will come soon. I look forward to your deliberations on climate change with the important focus on building communities across the South as well as across the world. Thank you, Kinchi, for inviting me. I welcome you all again.
And now I would like to invite our three professors from Beijing. They are from Tsinghua University, Peking University, and the Renmin University of China. And since the first South-South Forum, they have been the co-organizers of the forums. So first, I would like to invite Professor Wang Hui from the Tsinghua University. Professor Wang is Professor of History and Literature and also Director of the Jinhua Institute for Advanced Study in Humanities and Social Sciences. He is author of many works, including the 4 volumes of The Rise of Modern Chinese Thought, and also the books China's New Order, The End of the Revolution, and China from Empire to Nation State. Please, Professor Wang.
Thank you, Kinji. It's my a great honor to be part of the whole event. Last year's the Tsinghua Institute for Advanced Study involved in organizing, coordinated this very important event. This year, I think it's we know all of us we are facing the unprecedented challenge. So that's why the form, interaction or the communication online itself shows that how different from before. And the topic of all these kind of climate change, global the crisis, and the community regeneration are all very important themes. I remember that more than 20 years ago, at that time, is the high tide of the so-called neoliberal globalization. At that time, I came across Samir Amin in Denmark. He gave a talk to ask the question: is the global now the new age of globalization is a global new order or disorder? Obviously, his answer is disorder. Now, more than 20 years later, we realize that the analysis and the prediction come to the truth. Sadly, we are facing such the crisis, and basically, I think that the importance of the South-South Forum for us is one of the potential for help us to rethink about what is the so-called global order, new order, or how can we go over or overcome the challenge of the crisis. Basically, the Samir at that time, he famously raised the so-called five monopoly, and that was the base why it's not the order but the disorder. That kind of the global order never allow the South countries involving to reshape the whole global order, not developed the new global systems and institutions. So that's so important for us now, for the South-South Forum to, from this perspective, to rethink these global issues and the challenges. And welcome, and I really honored to be part of this event. Thank you.
So now we would like to invite Professor Wen Tiejun from the Renmin University of China. He has had 11 years of experience before he studied university of working in the local communities as a peasant, as a truck driver, and he has also 21 years of experience of being policy researcher in the central governments after he did his PhD. And for 11 years, he has been teaching at universities, and he's dean and director of several institutes for rural reconstruction in China. And he calls himself an old volunteer and facilitator of rural reconstruction movement in China. So, Professor Wen, please.
Dear participants, let me celebrate our 7th South Forum for Sustainability. On behalf of our nationwide volunteers groups, we were organized by the Renmin University Rural Reconstruction Center and the Southwest University China Rural Reconstruction School and the Stride Rural Reconstruction School at Fujian Agriculture and Forestry Universities. We also have many other universities to help to join this rural reconstruction movements. Now, when we're facing the challenge of COVID-19, and at that special time, I think it's very important for our South Forum for Sustainability to have a kind of opportunity to make people exchange their experiences, because not only the warriors, we're also facing many different challenges, like global warming, nowadays big flood in South China and West China is a very serious situation, and also the earthquake, and also many other disasters. So to be the human being, we must understand that the situation is very dangerous. So the warriors is only a warning to us, to make us to do the reflection, also to do the actions. So it's a very important moment we sit together for this exchange. It's extremely important to aware the disasters come from our human beings' behavior. So we need to change our thinking way, to change our behavior. Also, we need to reorganize ourselves for the triple S, means that the sovereignty for local resources and the solidarity of social resources, and also for the sustainable safety. So that is our South-South Forum's principle. So we hope that we can have more efforts to change ourselves to facing the global challenge from the nature. That is a very important time. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite Professor Dai Jinhua to give the welcome remarks. Professor Dai is professor at the Institute of Comparative Literature and Culture, and also director of the Center for Film and Cultural Studies at Peking University. She is author of more than 10 scholarly monographs, and her works have been translated into English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Japanese, and Korean. And her literary, film, and TV commentaries have addressed an expanding audience, not only in China, but also in different places over the decades. Actually, last night before this main forum, we live streamed a lecture by Professor Dai, and we had 30,000 audience last night. But then that was already a very small one, because usually her audience would on the live streaming would be 10 times or 30 times more. But then we are very happy to invite Professor Dai to give her remarks. She will be speaking in Chinese.
非常荣幸能够联合主办这一次论坛。7年了，但是这是第一次我们只能在网上相遇，只能在云中相遇。我们是真的在这个屏幕上相遇，还是我们一直被这个屏幕阻断？是半年来困惑着我的一种感觉。那么今天的南南论坛，毫无疑问的遭遇到一个世界性的极端特殊的时刻。毫无疑问，它也是人类文明史上从来没有遭遇过的一个时刻。因为这场疫情，所有的边界变得如此的清晰和如此的强悍。不同的国家、不同的区域关闭了他们的疆界，然后拒绝着他人的进入。但是所有的这些疆界并不能够阻止病毒在全球迅速的传播、迅速的变异。然后再收割着人类的生命。所以我说，在这样的一个时刻，疫情的所包含的这个政治含义已经非常清晰地向我们展现出来。那么我们有没有可能去思考它？有没有可能去应对它？那么人类的共同命运在这时候变成了一个绝非文学性修辞的事实。那么我们怎么去真正的作为人类的共同体去回应它？尤其是这一次的瘟疫的流行是如此清晰地呈现出，富人的流动或者说富人的行径将由穷人来买单。或者说，由这个富裕的人群所酿造的灾难，将由贫穷地区的人口来付出生命的代价。那么在这样的一个时刻，南南论坛的意义，也许更为鲜明或者更为清晰。所以我非常荣幸出席这个会议，而且非常希望能够倾听到朋友们的思考。在这个时刻，我们有没有可能再一次的拉起我们的手让我们走在一起，让我们共同的去回应，让我们共同的去度过这个极端艰难的时刻。谢谢大家，并且祝贺南南论坛的召开。
Professor Margo OKAZAWA-REY from the San Francisco State University in the USA. She has also been one of our board members of the PeaceWomen Across the Globe project. And in 2005, this global project nominated 1,000 women across the world for the Nobel Peace Prize. And Professor OKAZAWA-REY's primary areas of research and activism is in interconnecting militarism, capitalism, and religious fundamentals and their impacts, and to look at their impacts on women. She has worked in East Asia, in West Africa, and in Palestine. And she's also, of course, a member of the International Board of PeaceWomen Across the Globe in Bern, Switzerland, and of the Highlander Research and Education Center in Newmarket, Tennessee, in USA.
Thank you very much for this invitation, and congratulations, Professor Lau, for this fabulous gathering, and thank you to everyone. As the other previous speakers have spoken about, we are at a critical moment. And we thought, as PeaceWomen across the globe and all of our collaborators, we were truly honored when we were given a special track for feminist conversations about issues that we believe are cross-cutting, that need to be examined intersectionally, not just gender, but looking at such things as caste and race and sexuality, nation, etc. And so for this purpose, we were very, very honored and pleased that Professor Lau allotted two full days for our workshops. So the purpose of our workshops are to analyze the current moment, and all of these from feminist perspectives, to gain a deeper understanding of the cross-cutting issues and forces, as well as the specifics of each locations. And sometimes when we hear about the specifics, we can also go to the general. We are also very committed to sharing existing alternatives to current systems in place and imagining others. And we've seen not just the feminists, but I think other movements as well, that we really need to strengthen our imagination and to think about alternatives. And finally, our goal for these 2 days is really to inspire and support one another in our struggles and try to have a little bit of fun, especially in these times that are so horrific and critical. So in aid of our goals, we have organized 6 different sessions. 2 will be overlapping sessions. The first one concerns livelihood, food security, and ecology. The second theme is violence against women, policy and law reform, and alternatives to criminal justice prosecution of violators. The third topic concerns ethical solidarities. What do we people situated in the North, how do we need to think about how to be in ethical solidarity with peoples of the South, recognizing that in the North there's the South, and in the South there's a North. So really trying to come to grips with what that solidarity means. The fourth topic concerns occupation, colonization, militarism, and feminist peace work. And finally, we've organized a special session around the US racial politics, anti-Blackness, state power, and really thinking about those issues in the context of the wider world. And since right now the issue of anti-Blackness has really been coming to the forefront, there have been tremendous support from other countries. We think, though, that it's important to really interrogate what that means and how not just anti-Blackness, but other kinds of racial and other related politics affect different people in different parts of the world. So again, thank you so much for letting us be part of this. We expect to have a very lively conversation, and we are so pleased to be part of the larger South-South Forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margo. So, well, honorable guests and colleagues, I thank Professor Mok, the acting president of Lingnan University, and Professor NIRANJANA, the head of Department of Cultural Studies of Lingnan University, to deliver the welcome speeches to open the main forum of the South-South Forum today. I also thank Professor Wang Hui of Tsinghua University, Professor Jinhua of Peking University, and Professor Wen Tiejun of Renmin University of China for their speeches, and also their decade-long collaboration with Lingnan University in co-organizing the South-South Forum since the first one in 2011. And my thanks to Professor Margo OKAZAWA-REY for representing the PeaceWomen Across the Globe project that started back in 2003, when Lingnan University was honored to be hosting the East Asian Secretariat. From Professor Edward Chen back in the early 2000s, to Professor Chen Yokshu, to Professor Leonard Chen, this project of the PeaceWomen Across the Globe, with its subsequent developments into organizing the South-South Forums and the Lingnan Gardeners, has received support and recognition, and we will continue to operate as the Cultures of Sustainability program under the new research center, the Center for Cultural Research and Development of Lingnan University. This year is the 40th anniversary of ARENA, Asian Regional Exchange for New Alternatives, the 20th anniversary of the Cultural Studies Program, the 15th anniversary of the PeaceWomen across the globe nomination of 1,000 women for the Nobel Peace Prize, and the 10th anniversary of the inception of the project Global University for Sustainability. While we celebrate our resilience in pursuing alternative theory and praxis for another possible world, we are also reflecting on what has brought humanity to such an impasse, and literally a deadlock, a lock of death. Today, with the acute climate change, with the acute livelihood crisis, with the acute pandemics, humanity's concern is no longer the forever optimism of so-called scientific progress and so-called modernization. The concern for an overwhelming majority of the world's population is the simple wish for bare survival and subsistence. In Hong Kong, we seem to enjoy a high degree of affluence, boasting of a per capita GDP last year of 62,000 US dollars by the World Bank data. And we are always the unfailing champion according to the Index of Economic Freedom since 1995. However, the invisibilized, aggravating poverty and polarization have found its articulation in the discontent of the young generations. In this university where I have taught in the last 33 years, I have witnessed this increasing depression and despair among students, which have yet to find a way for creative and constructive shaping of their lives, for changes for the better in their subjective states and in the larger society. The dream of an educationist is for the students to be enabled intelligently and emotionally to learn to shape and share with one another and with forms of life in nature, a happy, healthy, and sustainable relationship. Yet, I'm apprehensive of failing miserably, individually and collectively. This is also why the South-South forums have been organized, to share wisdoms and knowledges, practices and visions, to find strength in and to empathize with the most vulnerable, the most marginalized. I think one lesson we have learned with COVID-19 is that unless the most vulnerable sectors of our society, local and global, are also protected, sound and well, the virus will dominate across all borders of class, caste, race, gender, nationality, and territory. I heard of a story from Kenya, which has been affected by the worst of floods, locusts, and pandemic. A mother boiled stones in her clay pot, giving her 4 children the illusion and the hope for a meal, and while earnestly waiting, the starving children would fall asleep. This image of the sleeping children is in my mind's eye. For their sake, we should, as Sami Amin would call for, be audacious to look for solutions, to raise ourselves from the abyss of despair and helplessness. I would like to express my gratitude to the 150 forum panelists from all corners of the world to come to this forum at such a short notice. We sent out the first invitation letters on the webinars on May 25th, which is just 6 weeks ago, because previously we still had the slim hope of convening an on-site forum. Most of our eminent speakers have only 8 minutes to speak according to our schedule. The idea is to be introducing the person and the work to each other and to the larger community of thinkers and practitioners. This is but only the weaving of one node in the network of people striving for a world of hope and love for our children. One saying of the indigenous peoples is, we are not giving the planet Earth to our children, we have borrowed from them. So let us repay our debt in good faith. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude to the team, to the interpreters, the translators, who have demonstrated, as always, their volunteerism and their dedication. I would like to end my opening remarks by inviting Dr. Erebus Wong to play the Requiem, the Shakuhachi music. Let us commemorate the 550,000 deaths over COVID-19, when each death is a profound sorrow for the family and the community. Let us also commemorate a longtime member of the arena community, the mayor of Seoul, Park Woon-soon. So may I invite Erebus to play the music.